What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for September 14th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast. And Feel Good Friday did not feel so good for the Phils. More on that in a minute. But some quick housekeeping notes. Yesterday, we talked about the Eagles-Washington game to open the season back in 1987. And I said it was a matchup between Doug Williams and Randall Cunningham. It was, however, Jay Schroeder did start that game for Washington and left with a shoulder injury. That season, Williams, I think, started 2 games total, but played a lot due to injury to Jay Schroeder. And ultimately, going into the playoffs, Joe Gibbs decided to start Doug Williams, who became the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. But Doug Williams did not start that game against Randall Cunningham, which does explain why I probably had some trouble finding the historical starting for black quarterbacks with that. So I want to always keep the facts straight and accurate here. Also want to talk about yesterday's question of the day. We'll start off with that since the Phillies game was a complete and total bust. Almost 70% of you said I was wrong on this, that Ben Simmons is not the biggest Philly sports villain of all time. And in fact, many of you said he's not a Philly sports villain at all because he didn't do anything to the Sixers. Now, I'm going to respectfully disagree with all of those people. Lots of folks talked about the disappointment and everything like that, and I think that goes without saying. However, for me, it's not so much that he did anything to my Sixers. It's more about what he did not do for them and what he could have done. Yes, he wasted the potential. Yes, just a waste of space. Yes, he could have been great. However, it's the fact that he did not live up to those expectations, and I think more so the way he didn't live up to those expectations that makes him such a villain for me. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. There will be another one later in the show. But again, to me, Ben Simmons is just one of those guys that talk about a punchable face. Like, that's like a 3-piece Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, finish him combo face. But anyway, be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont, Twitter and TikTok. At Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word. Let's grow this thing. Got some good things on the horizon. If you haven't done so already, check out this year's induction class for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. The link is in the description. Starting to gear up for that induction ceremony in November. Also, have been working on a project. Can't really talk about it yet, but stay tuned. It's going to be pretty cool. A little bit of an interactive thing with the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. So have a meeting about some things next week. So hopefully I can announce some more things after that. Be sure to check out Philly Goat. They have a new shirt that I purchased immediately yesterday because of how great it was. It is election season. We've already talked about the McCarthy Crux shirt and signs you can get for your yard. They have the one now with Republican, Democrat, the donkey, and the elephant. And then there's a picture of Fanatic with a check. So we're all going to be Schwarberkrats this election season. So go to Philly Goat, get that shirt. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Get a Crux McCarthy sign for your yard and get into the season. I have my presidents are temporary, Wu-Tang is forever in my shirt, and I keep getting all kinds of compliments. People are loving it, and I'm setting the tone early for the election season. Basically, I don't care who you're voting for. So Wu-Tang is forever, presidents are temporary. But go to phillygoat.com, get the Schwarberkrat shirt, and show your support for the Phillies this playoff Red October election season. And then go to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences. New football, new baseball episodes drop. Always a good time watching them. Enjoy hanging out with them. So they're doing great things over there. Go check them out. The Clashing Conferences podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. All right. So now the Phillies. I don't think there is anybody in the Phillies rotation right now that is as inconsistent as Aaron Nola, and I don't think there's been anybody over the course of a career that has been more inconsistent than Aaron Nola. When he is good, when he's playoff Nola, he's outstanding. When he's not, he's Taijuan Walker. And Nola's going to Nola, give up home runs, but man, they were cruising to the fifth inning, and it just kind of all fell apart. And it does. It happens. I'm holding off the PTSD and all of the old Philly mindset thoughts that are rushing into my brain. Immediately, I'm like, it's over. They're done. They're going to blow it just like 64. The Mets are going to do to us what we did to them in 07 and 08. I'm trying to hold them off, and I'm giving you a glimpse into what's going on in my mind. I'm trying to block that out, but sometimes that old mindset comes creeping back in. Hopefully they can build off of what they did in the ninth inning yesterday. But, man, again, it's one of those things that happens. Both teams have been coming in hot, and it's just a couple bad pitches here and there, and Nola gives up the little league inning, and that seems to be his MO recently, like that one bad inning, and he was pitching well up until that point. But Kobe Allard on the mound tonight. I'm not even sure what time that game is. I got so many things with my kids' sports today that I haven't even paid attention to the game time, but I know it's Kobe Allard. That could be a Fox game, one way or the other, a national game. But big game. Hopefully they can even up this series, and the lead is 7 over the Mets still. They got a 3-game lead over the Brewers and a game lead over the Dodgers. But I'm trying not to be that down about it, but it just this is what I worry about with getting a bye, is that they come out the first game and get rocked like this, and then all of a sudden you're pressing, and we saw what they did all summer when they were pressing. But it's one game. Today's a new day. They still have 6 more left with the Mets before it's all said and done. So I think we'll be okay. But just not a way you wanted to open that series. Magic number for the division still at 9. For a playoff spot, it's still at 7. But some good news on the horizon. Alec Boehm and Edmundo Sosa both will be playing in the Lehigh Valley this weekend, LV, for rehab assignments. Boehm's going to play the field and then DH tomorrow. I think Sosa's going to DH today and then play in the field tomorrow. It's possible that both of them are back for the Milwaukee series, which will be huge. But now let's focus on the Mets. And I must say, and I think I mentioned this yesterday, and my feelings during that game certainly confirmed this, that as much as I want to say the Braves have overtaken the Mets as the Phillies' biggest rival, to me, when the Mets are good, I hate the Mets. I absolutely hate the Mets. I forgot about it because it's been so long since both teams have been good at the same time. But, yeah, I hate the Mets. Absolutely hate them. But hopefully Kobe Allard can get us back on track and the Bats pick up that momentum they had in the 9th inning. All right, some Eagles news. Not a lot going on. They practiced yesterday. AJ did appear on the injury report with a hamstring. He did practice just in a limited fashion. For the most part, though, everybody else was healthy. They announced the uniform combos which I kind of like that this is like an announcement that they've been putting out on their social media, and it's kind of like a big deal what uniform combos they're going to wear. But these are my non-alternate jerseys, like Kelly Green, non-all black. This is my favorite jersey combo. The green jerseys with the white pants and the green helmets. Typical, just crisp, clean looking. I love the way it looks on the field, especially like on a Sunday 1:00 game when the sun is out. It's chilly in the air, but that's what they're wearing. Kirk Cousins is still dealing with his Achilles. I saw some people breaking down film, the All-22, and it does look like he is favoring that. So hopefully the Eagles are able to take advantage of that because, I mean, he's still hobbled somewhat with that injury, and we'll get more into that on Monday night. But they have to take advantage of that because he's not mobile. He's not the most mobile guy anyway, But with it being limited like that with an Achilles, they have to take advantage of that. So hopefully what Bryce Huff had said about the field and what he saw on the film is true, and they're able to take advantage of that. That does lead us to today's question of the day. The NFL announced I forget how many there were, but I don't think they were finalists, but the next round of cuts were made for the Hall of Fame, the senior division, and 4 Eagle legends are on there: Ron Jaworski, Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, and Bill Bergey. You certainly could make the case for all 4 of them, but my question to you is, of those 4, which is most deserving to get into the Hall of Fame? Ron Jaworski, Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, or Bill Bergey? You could call me on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531, or hit me up on my social media. But let me know which of those 4 are most deserving to get into the Hall of Fame via the senior vote. Ron Jaworski, Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, Bill Bergey. I think of the 4, Jaworski is the one with the worst case. I definitely think you can make a good case for Mike Quick and Bill Bergey. I know, by the way, happy birthday to my brother. I know he's not a big Bill Bergey guy, more so for his post-game and pre-game show antics. But happy birthday, Kyle. Hopefully you vote for Bill Bergey. But you can make the case for Mike Quick and Bill Bergey. For me, though, I don't know. I think Seth Joyner has always been one of the most underrated players in not only Eagles history, but all of the NFL history. And I think it's just because he played with Reggie White, Clyde Simmons, Jerome Brown, Eric Allen. He just had that, like, those guys were legends too. But he was to me, the unsung hero of that team. I have his autograph over here to my right. But that is my vote. But let me know, who do you think? Which of those 4 is most deserving to be in the Hall of Fame? Ron Jaworski, Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, or Bill Bergey? I think of all the Eagles players, the one that is most deserving is Eric Allen. It's a travesty he's not in. But I do feel that it's a travesty that Seth Joyner is not getting the love and credit he deserves. But let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Which one of those guys is most deserving of being in the Hall of Fame? And if it's none of them, let me know that. I certainly think Seth Joyner should be in. Bill Bergey, again, you can make a strong case for him. Same with Mike Quick. I think Jaworski is not even Hall of Very good. He's just a good player. I don't necessarily think he has the credentials. Now, contributor-wise, for his film breakdown and the stuff he's done for ESPN over the years and NFL Films, certainly you can make the case there. But on the field, I just don't think he has it. We have Michkov news, and he made his Flyers debut in the Rookies series against the Rangers last night up at the PPL Center. And the Flyers did lose that game in overtime via the shootout. But Michkov scored a power play goal, which the power play was certainly one of those things that hurt the Flyers last year. Good debut for Michkov. He was fired up. This team is going to be fun. He's going to be. I have a feeling he's going to fit in very, very well with the Flyers. Flyers fans and Philly sports fans are going to love him. I saw the highlights. You can see like it. He has it, and it was just great to see him finally on the ice. So it's going to be an exciting Flyer season as they kick off training camp next week. Union finally returned to action tonight down in Miami. Tough game for them, Inter Miami, especially as they're battling for a playoff spot, and the news just keeps getting better. Apparently, Messi might be able to play in this game. He hasn't played since June 1st with an ankle injury, but he seems like he's set to at least get some playing time and minutes tonight. So tough road for the Union tonight, but let's go. You need to do something, and these are the teams you're going to have to play if you want to make a playoff run. So looking forward to that tonight. All right, today we're going to go back to 2003. And on this day in 2003, the Eagles lost to the Patriots 31-10 in the second game ever at Lincoln Financial Field. The Eagles' only points came on a Deuce Staley touchdown and a 57-yard field goal by David Akers. Donovan struggled mightily. I remember being at this game and just being like, what is going on with this team? 18 for 46, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick 6. He lost 2 fumbles, was sacked 8 times. The Eagles had 6 turnovers in general, and Tom Brady was, his first prime. He played for 100 years. So first prime, Tom Brady went 30 for 44, 255 yards, 3 touchdowns. And the Eagles opened up Lincoln Financial Field with 2 brutal losses. They were 0-2 to open the Linc, scored only 10 points in that game. They were shut out the week before in that big matchup against Tampa Bay with Sylvester Stallone came out, all the pomp and circumstance, and the Eagles scored 10 points. They had a rare week 3 bye that year. So Andy Reid went to the drawing board, and they came back out a different team after that, went 14-2 down the stretch. Thanks in large part, if you remember that season, it was the Brian Westbrook turned that season around with his punt return against the Giants to win that game. Because up until that point, the Giants had the Eagles' numbers, so that was a huge confidence boost for the team against the Giants, but also just the way they won that game. But that turned it around. They had the first seed that year. That was the 4th and 26 year. The year that they lost to the Panthers when McNabb took the cheap shot and just was hurt in the NFC Championship game. But I will say that those 2 games to open the Linc, in my 24 years of having season tickets, probably the worst 2-game stretch of football I've ever seen in that building, and that includes preseason. So on this day back in 2003, Eagles lost to the Patriots 31-10, losing their second straight to open up Lincoln Financial Field. They did get it together that year, ultimately ending in the NFC Championship game against the Panthers. All right, finally today, our Philly Sports Villain segment. And this one, it's kind of an odd one, but Ilya Bryzgalov, and he was the goalie and signed a 9-year, $51 million contract. And I was hesitant to put him on the list because I don't know if he's so much a villain as he is frustrating. To me, all of the arguments that people were making about Ben Simmons, you can make that about Ilya Bryzgalov, where Ben Simmons is just a jerk. Bryzgalov was just goofy and very frustrating. Came in with a lot of hype and was supposed to be the long-term answer to goal for the Flyers. And he just did not live up to any of the hype. He was very inconsistent. When he was good, but then when he was bad, he was bad. And like I said, he was goofy. A lot of funny quotes. He said, "I have zero confidence in myself." He had the famous quote where he's like, "Great news, I'm not playing today. Good news, we have a chance to win." He had, when the Flyers were featured on the HBO leading up to one of the outdoor games, he said, went on this long soliloquy about the solar system and what's out there, and we worry about things, and didn't really enjoy the Philly sports media. He said, "I will try to find peace playing here," and just really did not endear himself to Philly fans that much. But like I said, when he was good, he was good. But when he was terrible, he was terrible. That one year in the playoffs, he was the only guy that showed up. But I feel Ilya becomes the villain in part because of his comments, in part because not living up to the hype. And I think a lot of it is probably more to blame on the front office for giving him the ridiculous contract. But at the same time, he just did not help himself out. And then to make matters worse, he's still hampering this team for the next couple of years because they did buy him out. And it was a ridiculous buyout and a very Bobby Bonilla-like move. The Flyers have been paying him $1.6 million a year, and they will continue to do so until 2027. But I think Ilya Bryzgalov becomes the villain more so for not living up to expectations and just being aloof with the media and in the locker room. So you can give me your thoughts on that. I was hesitant to put him on, but I think because of the contract, because of how it ended, and the fact that they're still paying him, Ilya Bryzgalov is today's Philly sports villain. On this day in 2003, Eagles lost to the Patriots 31-10, going 0-2 to start the season at Lincoln Financial Field, scoring 10 points in 2 games They did turn it around and make a run to the NFC Championship. Union tonight, tough one against Miami and Messi. Michkov hopefully will be playing again tonight. I think they play the second game in that whatever rookie series against the Rangers tonight. We'll have more on the Eagles tomorrow. Big slate of college football games today. I will be enjoying them from the comforts of multiple fields around Upper Dublin today. Phil's Mets, let's hope they can get back on track. And like I said, I hate the Mets. Let me know the answer to your question of the day. Which of the 4 Eagles that are eligible for the senior vote for the Hall of Fame are most deserving? Ron Jaworski, Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, or Bill Bergey? 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Spread the word. Let's keep this thing growing. Go check out some things for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame as we gear up for the induction ceremony. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for September 14th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Saturday, everyone. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.